Silicosis is a disease that mine workers acquire when they are exposed to high volumes of dust particles from silica, which is a dust from the rock. And then that dust then affects their lungs and they become sick, especially if there's no medication that they've been exposed to. Although it is incurable, it becomes worse under conditions where they don't have access to any medication at all. The reason that they have been suffering from is because under the apartheid government, there was no legislation that governs the prevention of high volumes of silica being in the space where workers were working. And it was only in 1996 that workers that a law was passed. Or did employers care because they could have given these workers protective clothing to ensure that they don't get exposed to silica? Nor did they know its implications as they were working in those conditions. So it is more of that nobody cared. The government then didn't care. The employers were after profits. These workers were exposed to silica, and no medication was offered. Then they ended up in the situation they are. And even now, the employers refuses to accept that they are responsible. Where science shows that silicosis cannot affect anybody except one who has been exposed to high volumes of the dust from the rock. And the rock is always in their minds. We came here because Anglo-American is listed in the London Stock Exchange. The reason we target them is because they were very big in the mining industry. They were the biggest of the current 30 mines. And we believe that if they were to take a stand and accept their responsibility as the biggest, that would have made a very big mark in pulling along others to follow suit, to say that we don't want courts to tell us that we're guilty of this situation. We want a solution to make sure that those workers who suffer from silicosis can have their problems addressed. We have known that employers have no consciousness. Without a campaign of this nature, they would do nothing. They would even deny that those workers have ever worked in their mines. So we needed to make sure that the British citizens understand that one of their companies, which has subscribed to very important value systems, does not do that in countries that they have been exploiting workers from. As the British citizens has done during apartheid with Mandela's release and others, we believe they can do the same. The fate of these miners is such that if nothing is done very soon, most of them will die. And if they die, they will not be compensated for pain and suffering, as our law in our country would not cover that. Therefore, we believe that we need so big a voice, we need so wide an audience, so that these companies find no place to hide.